The purpose of this video is to walk you through the abstract component of your science fair logbook. The abstract can be found on page 1 of your science fair logbook. This is the very first thing that you see when you open it up. Now the abstract has a lot of parts and pieces to it, so make sure that you listen to this whole video, listen all the way through, and pay close attention to how to complete each of the steps along the way. The very first thing you'll see left blank is a box called Category. Now in order to figure out which category your science fair project belongs in, you're going to need to take a quick break and open up a tab with my science fair website. If you scroll down just a short ways on my website, you will find the official project guide for the science fair. You're going to want to open this guide up and take a look at, I believe it is page 7. Yep, page 7. You'll see at the top it says Science Project Categories. Now there are 2 pages worth of categories that may or may not apply to your project. You might know right off the bat which category your project fits into. That's great. Read through the description of that category just one time to make sure you're right, and then you can go ahead and you can put that name in the blank. If you're not sure which category of science your science fair project falls into, you're going to want to take some time today to read through these descriptions. Starting with aerospace science, they're the bolded words or bolded terms. These are all categories: biochemistry, botany, cellular and molecular biology, chemistry, computer science. They even go on to the next page a short ways. We have earth science, electronics, engineering, environmental science, health science, all the way down to zoology at the bottom. So one of these categories will fit your project, but it is up to you to read through the descriptions and to make an educated assumption at this point of which you think fits your project the best. Now I will check this as I am going through and looking at your logbook in the upcoming weeks, but I want you to do your best, and I would like to see something filled in prior to me checking that this project is done. Just a quick note, those of you that are doing studies of a preference or studies on how a person's emotions might play into an exposure to something, that would be behavioral science. A number of you also have projects that fit into this chemistry block here. So if you're really not sure, or if a description doesn't make sense, come and talk to me, but I would like you to try reading through the categories first. Again, this document is available on my website. You can click the pop-out tab to view it in its own link, its own window. So that's going to go into the categories box. You don't have to worry about checking experimental design or design investigation. All of you have experimental investigation projects. So once we are finished, we'll print this out and you can actually use a black pen to check that box. Scrolling down just a little bit further, you need to put your first and last name in the box next to name of scientist and your grade, all of you are in 7th grade, into the box next to the grade marker. If you have a partner for this project, you'll have to decide who is taking the lead. That is going to be the person who has the responsibility of distributing prize money should prize money be rewarded. The other person in your partnership will need to put their name on the second line. Scrolling down a little bit farther, still we come to project title. You need to decide at this point what you would like to call your projects. I know some of you already have catchy names in mind. I've seen them written in different spots in your logbook. If you don't have a project title yet, think about something that's going to pop. You want your project title to grab the audience or the judge's attention. So please do not title your project My Science Fair Project. Okay, that will get a no-go. That will have to be redone. Think about what you're doing. Think about how you could describe it, or what sort of an analogy you might want to use as your hook in your literature review, and play off of that in your project title. Your project title shouldn't be any longer than this line. So another thing to keep in mind is that your project title is concise. After the project title, you'll notice that there is a very small box for you to write a summary of your purpose statement. Now you have already fleshed out your purpose statement. You did that on the purpose page of your logbook. It's not a bad idea to go back to the purpose page to see what you've written. The abstract needs to be a summary. Your abstract paragraphs, so purpose, procedure, and conclusion, each of these is considered a paragraph, need to be about 200 words or less. 200 words isn't that long. So if your purpose statement in your purpose section of the logbook is 200 words or less, you can go ahead and copy and paste it into this section. Notice that this section uses 9-point font. Do not just copy and paste your 12-point font into the purpose section. That's going to be way too big. If you copy and paste, you need to make sure to also change the size to what's appropriate for this page. So if it's a short purpose already, copy paste, has to be 200 words or less. Change the font size to 9 so that it fits in with everything around it. The procedure box or paragraph will take you perhaps a little bit longer because your procedures, rightly so, on your procedure page are written out as a numbered list. First I'll do this, then I'll do that, third I'll do this other thing. Your procedure in the abstract piece of your project needs to be a paragraph, and it's similar in some ways to those sentences, or maybe that one sentence you wrote on your purpose page, explaining what you were going to do in your experiment. In the procedure box, you're going to be, or want to be more specific. I can't talk. You're going to want to be more specific than just one sentence explaining your procedure. Think 3 or perhaps 4 sentences explaining what did you do in your project in order to get the results that you came up with. The last piece of the abstract you might not be able to do yet today, and that is the conclusion. If you have already completed your science fair project, if you have your data, you might be able to start writing your conclusion. This is a short summary of the results of your experiment. What did you find out? What were your results? What did you learn from those results? How could those results be applied, maybe in another experiment or shared with someone outside of your science experiment who could use now that information? This is a short paragraph that wraps everything up and that tells the judge when they look at your abstract form where you're going to end. So at the beginning of your paper, you're stating your purpose. At the end, in your conclusion, you're stating, and this is what it's all about. This is where we ended up. Again, if this conclusion is not done by the due date, that is okay. I understand you might not have your data, but everything else on this sheet should be due by the date that was given to you in class. It's on the board. It's also in the date section on my science fair website. Category, name, project title, purpose, and procedure. Let me know if you have any questions. Have fun, good luck.